from Johns Creek.
Gladiators go back to work on their own 39-yard line. Just underway here from West Forsyth High School. They're going to roll the pocket far side. And here is Overton. He breaks loose, showing us some of that skill on the ground. Loose to the 30. Nobody's going to catch him. This will be a touchdown right off the bat for Johns Creek. Holy cow, just like that. 61 yards for Overton. And Johns Creek, the Gladiators break through, Chris. How about that? And I'll tell you what, man, the guy's right on cue. We talk about his rollout abilities. He throws a great pass. We talk about his running abilities. And off he goes, 61 yards for the score.
Yeah, a good offensive scheme there, Kevin. If you notice, the first play was a run. The second play was a play-action rollout to the left side. The third play, the quarterback decided to take it himself. They mixed it up, and it worked. And a big, big opening touchdown for the visitors.
Kyle Fowler in to attempt the point after. And I think we've got a stunned Wolverines home crowd here on homecoming night. And Fowler misses it to the right, Chris. So there is one of those asterisks that we're going to talk about throughout the night. Fowler misses the PAT. Had plenty of leg, and it looked like everything was fine with the exchange to the holder. But it was pushed to the right. So it takes a little bit of the steam out of that momentum on the other side. Of course, a great play by Overton to get them in the end zone. But you want to cap that drive and execute everything right out of the gate, and a missed extra point there. That may come back to haunt him. We've seen that happen a couple times this year.
One of the interesting little tidbits that I was going to hold off and not really mention until we saw it was the fact that the home team, West Forsyth, they took care of business against Centennial 40-6 last week, but they missed 2 extra points. So we saw they struggled a little bit with the kicking game last week, and now Johns Creek comes out, and they miss an extra point. Interesting. We'll watch and see if those play factors as we move on into the ballgame.
Back deep to receive for West Forsyth. Will Brown, number 5. Jake Wyzorek is number 10. So now, Chris, these guys have got to feel like a prize fighter. They got knocked down in the first couple seconds of the first round here. They got to shake that off and answer. A scoring drive of just 3 plays for Johns Creek's Gladiators, and they are on top. 10:47 to go, opening quarter happening very quickly. Good high, deep kick, and this will go in and through the end zone for the touchback.
And Kevin, leading the offense out, as I mentioned earlier, will be A.J. Erderly, responsible for 4 touchdowns last week. Jake Wyzorek, as I mentioned, also responsible for 4 touchdowns as well.
So Coach Frank Hepler has the initial huddle over on the sideline. And Erdley brings him out. Very talented quarterback, the senior, 6'4", 205 is Erdley. They're going to run this one far side right out of the gate. Stephen Gallagher. That's going to be a gain of probably 2, maybe 2.5.
Turner Fortin on the tackle that time for Johns Creek.
Right back to the line of scrimmage, no huddle for the Wolverines. On 2nd down and 7, Erdley to throw, quick outside, and he's got Tanner Bridges very close to a first down. Depends on the spot. The official's right on the 30-yard line. Looks like it will be good enough to move the chains.
Kevin, as we've seen so many times, just about every game we've broadcasted, we've had one team that's just come out and jumped on the no-huddle really early.
Erdley on the QB draw, and he's got room, doing his best Sky Overton impression out to the 43-yard line. So, Chris, we really, as we talked about, we do have a couple of teams that really mirror each other on both sides of the football. That'll move the chains out to the 43-yard line, and West Forsyth in a big hurry now. Wolverines trying to get back and keep that rhythm going. And we're going to have flags and whistles before the snap. Referee rushing in from the far side.
Indication that it'll be against the offense.
No, it's going to be offside against Johns Creek, so a free 5, make it 1st down and 5.
And, Kevin, that's what happens when you have a defense that has to go up against that no-huddle offense. They don't have time to set themselves and take a breath and maybe get a couple of more plays in there, and somebody sometimes just kind of jumps a little early.
Erdley back to the shotgun. They're going to run it near side this time. Give it back to Wyzorek, and he's loose on the near sideline. Turns the corner at the 20 and knocked out of bounds. So a couple of high-powered offenses showing off right now. Will Summers with a saving tackle for Johns Creek.
Kevin, a pretty good block on the outside laid by number 30, Stephen Gallagher. I've mentioned so many times how important it is for your receivers that are not holding the ball to be able to block downfield, and that's exactly what happened that time.
Line of scrimmage just outside the 22-yard line of Johns Creek as West Forsyth is on the move. Eardley with a quick fire to the outside. Flanker screen looking for Tanner Bridges, and he's going to go down at the 15-yard line. Good pursuit over there by the right side of that Johns Creek defense. Pickup of maybe 2 on the play. 2nd down and 8 for the Wolverines.
Zach this year was in on the tackle that time for Johns Creek.
Eardley working exclusively from the shotgun so far here tonight. Now he's going to roll near side, looking to throw. In trouble now, Tucks now fires. And that ball is intercepted inside the 10-yard line. Looked like joint possession, but the defender yanked it out of there.
Was it Hunter Ballou? No.
Jack Pomerantz, the captain over there on the defensive side, so a big break for Johns Creek. The ball was delivered on time, Chris, but the defender jumped in front. It was joint possession, and the defender just yanked it out of the receiver's hands, so that'll snuff out the drive.
And Overton did a good job of rolling to the right, trying to.
And that's bad news, Chris. It doesn't look like either defense has an answer right now. West Forsyth was on the move.
Eardley did a good job of rolling to the right, creating a little bit more time, but maybe he tried to force that ball in a little earlier than he wanted to.
So Sky Overton goes back to work.
Like Solomon on the carry that time. That was a sort of a dangerous play. Almost hit the ground.
Gain of 3 on the play. We'll call it 2nd down and 7. Ball placed just outside the 11-yard line. Second possession of the game for the Johns Creek Gladiators on the turnover. The interception of Eardley. And here is Overton once again. 2nd down and 7. And they're going to keep it on the ground, go right back to Chase Solomon, and nothing happening there. He may lose a couple. Back inside the 11-yard line, so 3rd down and 8 coming up. So West Forsyth looking to answer after the turnover and get the football right back for A.J. Eardley and company if they can hold Overton and his crew here on 3rd down and 7.
Looks like an extra tight end checks into the ball game for Johns Creek.
8 minutes to play in the opening quarter. Johns Creek on top after a 61-yard run by Sky Overton on the 4th play from scrimmage for Johns Creek. A missed extra point has us at 6-0, and we're going to have flags. Looks like the indication might be delay. And it is delay against Johns Creek, so that'll march it back and create a 3rd down and 13 situation. So a break there for West Forsyth and the defense. And they're doing everything they have to right now.
And Kevin, 3rd and 12 to 13 is not quite as manageable as 3rd and 7. That is a huge play.
And we've seen how dangerous that Johns Creek offense can be already. Multiple weapons over there. And Sky Overton is 2 of them all by himself. Once again in the shotgun, 3rd down and 13. Johns Creek at their own 6-yard line. Overton on the roll. Now he's in trouble, dumps it off, and it's caught. A nice juggling catch. And the carry is going to be good enough for a Johns Creek 1st down. Chase Solomon doing a nice job of concentrating on the football. And how about Overton, Chris, in trouble, backpedaling into his own end zone, found a receiver, and Johns Creek survives that 3rd and long.
Doing a really good job at Overton of creating a little bit more time, and he needed all the time he could get because he's right back there on the goal line, literally another fraction of a second, and the home team puts their first points on the board via safety.
He had defenders draped all over him and did a nice job of getting rid of the football. Back to the shotgun they go again. Back to Solomon they go again, breaking tackles on the corner, and he's going to have room out to the 31-yard line. Bring up a 3rd down and 3 for Johns Creek.
Looks like Momo Kamara, along with a couple of other Wolverines, were in on the tackle that time. But, Kevin, a good positive 1st down play. We talk so much about how big gains on 1st down makes it so much easier for you to run your offense. You're coming up with 2nd down and a short 3. That gives you a lot of options.
As long as you play within the chains, you can run your offense. Here is Overton. They're going to go toss to Solomon right side. And not much happening there. A nice job on the tackle. Looked like Momo Kamara there on top first. And that'll bring up 3rd down and 3 for Johns Creek at their own 32-yard line.
Yeah, I think Hunter Ballou was in on the tackle as well.
So once again, West Forsyth has Johns Creek in 3rd down. A little more manageable situation here for Johns Creek, though, just 3rd and 3. So West Forsyth defense one more time looking for an answer. And it's going to be Overton on the keeper. And he'll have the 1st down across the 35 to the 39-yard line. And Johns Creek will move the chains once again.
Kevin, how dangerous of a weapon is a guy who can scramble, who can throw the ball, who can roll out, pass the ball. He can. He's got good offensive linemen. He's smart. He creates, and he also can tuck it under and run.
And Chris, it's almost a situation where if the defense has to spy him for most of the ball game, they're almost a man down on the defensive side. And they're going to go direct snap to Overton again in the shotgun. He turns the corner with good speed at midfield. He'll run out of bounds just shy of the 50-yard line. Designed end around for Sky Overton. And that will be good enough to move the chains once again for Johns Creek. So, Chris, they're not intimidated at all coming into this packed house at West Forsyth High School, facing another 5-0 football team.
Kevin, another one of the things that a very fleet-footed quarterback does is it draws a lot of attention to that quarterback. Therefore, when it's time to step back and give the ball to somebody else, some of those linebackers may be looking at guys who they think are going to get the football. 1st and
10 at the midfield stripe. Here's Overton once again looking to keep it himself. And he kind of slithers through a hole there, left side, inside West Forsyth territory to the 47, make the 46-yard line. And, Chris, what else this has done has really taken this capacity crowd out of the game. I mean, this place is absolutely jammed in on the West Forsyth side. They've got homecoming tonight, a lot to cheer about here for their young undefeated team. But right now, Johns Creek has absolutely muted them and done what they need to do.
And the Gladiators, each and every time, they're making multiple substitutions. They're keeping a fresh guy in there, and they wouldn't mind 3 or 4 yards down the field continuing to move the chains.
2nd down and 5. They go to the pitch right side. Missed tackle, but here comes help. And Ben Deck got the toss, but a lot of help over there. Looked like Momo Kamara, first man to meet him, and he got some help. And once again, Johns Creek finds himself 3rd and long. We'll call it 3rd and 7.
Yeah, Hunter Ballou was a man who came in and initially missed the first tackle, but what he did is he slowed down the ball carrier and allowed the other blue jerseys to come in and make the tackle.
And he contained that edge too, Chris, kept that from breaking outside. We've seen Overton already have success on the edge, getting around that corner, and Ballou did a nice job of shutting that down. Big play here for defense on West Forsyth. 3rd down and 7, that's got the crowd into it. Overton to throw, fires and has a man at the 40. That's going to be good enough for a 1st down. Nice catch on the outside. And that looks like Braden Fortin, the wideout, did get loose over there on the quick slant, and Overton found him.
And Kevin, a little soft cushion that time by the secondary, by the defensive back covering. If you're 3rd and 7, you don't want to give them a 10-yard cushion, and that's exactly what happened. A quick 3-step drop and a quick slant, and by the time the defenders got to the man with the ball, he had already gotten the 1st down.
1st down and 10 for Overton and the Gladiators at the Wolverines' 38-yard line. Plenty of time to throw for Overton, just surveying. Now rolling out, getting out of trouble. Kind of baited the lineman into making a move on him. And he just left him in the dust. Josh Davis looked like he had him in his sights, but then it looked like Overton found another gear.
Yeah, I was going to say he really turned on the Jets. And you mentioned plenty of time. That offensive line, that Overton had, 10-plus seconds before he even decided to tuck and run. Great job by the offensive line.
It was a picture-perfect pocket he was sitting in there.
And, Kevin, just as good of a job by the West Forsyth secondary by not allowing any of those receivers to get open.
2nd down and a long 2 for the Gladiators at the Wolverines' 30. Overton gives to Solomon. Solomon has room, breaking tackles inside the 20, and he'll roll forward to about the 16-yard line. So the West Forsyth defensive line right now with no answers. Another first down, and this is really gassing that West Forsyth D, Chris. They've been on the field for most of the first quarter. 3:26 to play in the first. Johns Creek on top, and we're going to have a timeout. And Johns Creek is going to call this one. First timeout called of the first period, Chris, and that's a good break for West Forsyth. Those defensive guys need to come over here and regroup just a bit. Kyle Overton is having his way with them right now.
Kevin, I mentioned that the offensive line for Johns Creek doing a really, really good job. Guys like, let me see, we've got Corey Vaughn on the line, Devin Howard, Denny Victor, Sam
Arrington is one of those guys I was going to mention because he's going both ways here tonight as well.
Yeah, Austin Dubose, those guys are doing a really good job of not only opening up the holes for the running game, but they're giving their quarterback time to maybe go to a second, third, or even fourth option, and that's one of the things that you want. You want your quarterback to have time to be able to sit back there and create when there's nothing going on at the time.
So time for the West Forsyth Wolverines defense to make a play. They trail 6-0 after the 61-yard run by Kyle Overton on the first possession of the ball game for the Johns Creek Gladiators. This possession, the result of the interception, and they have really chewed a lot of clock, Chris. West Forsyth has had the football for probably about 2 minutes of this first quarter. And now Johns Creek goes back to work, 1st and 10 at the 17-yard line. They continue to go to Solomon, and he's going to be bottled up at the 15-yard line. Look like Momo Kamara in there again. Chris, he has got a nose for the football out there on defense. Just what they need right now. Second down and 8 coming up.
Had a little bit of help in there from Justin Klunowitz. I think that's how you say that.
All right, so second down and 8 once again. The Wolverines defense looking for an answer. Overton out of the shotgun. He's been in the shotgun all night long. Little motion in front of him. Now they roll it near side. Overton on the option elects to keep it. And he may have just a couple to about the 13-yard line. That'll bring up third down and 6.
The Kamara's in on the tackle, Kevin. That's about 5 or 6 tackles by Kamara, which is good. But we've talked so many times about that second and third level leading in tackles, and right now Kamara has made about a half a dozen tackles.
He has,
and he is one of the last options out there.
Got to help him out there. Connor Vandenbos did a nice job of supporting that tackle last time for West Forsyth. Big play here, third down and 6. West Forsyth defense need a play right here. Overton to throw with plenty of time. And that is knocked down. A great job. Jacob Hill on the defend. And he knocked that down, Chris. Played it perfectly.
Pretty good contingency of Jacob Hill fans sitting here, right here close to us, and they are very, very happy. That was a big play by the junior.
And he played it perfectly, Chris. It's one of those situations where he could have come over the back and gotten the pass interference call, but he reached around with a great job of timing and a nice job by Jacob Hill to bail out the West Forsyth defense, Chris. We needed a play made on that side, and we got it from number 18. And now we're going to have a field goal attempt once again. Kyle Fowler steps in. Missed the extra point on the initial touchdown for Johns Creek. Now he's going to try a 30-yard field goal from the near hash. Trying to cash in on the interception. Kick is up, and that spinner is good. And that'll bump the score up to Johns Creek 9 and West Forsyth nothing. So, Chris, a moral victory there to hold them to 3, but they've still got some work to do on defense. It took a big play from Jacob Hill to stop the drive, but they moved the football pretty convincingly after that interception.
Yeah, the Wolverines stiffened a little bit there at the end, but you mentioned they're going to have to do a better job because right now Johns Creek is moving the ball down the field at will. They're not having any problems. They're creating, they're running the ball, they're passing the ball. The quarterback is tucking and running. Everything is clicking for the Johns Creek offense right now. And the Wolverine defense has to be tired a little bit. So what they need is for the Wolverines offense to come back out here, move the football, put some points on the board, and allow that defense to rest.
West Forsyth Wolverines celebrating homecoming here tonight. They need to get this capacity crowd into it. And A.J. Erdley's going to come back out with that offense in just a moment and see if they can do just that. Just under 2 minutes to play, opening quarter, 1:57.
Looks like Will Brown back deep along with Jake Wyzorek for the Wolverines.
A low line drive this time. This will be returnable.
Wyzorek is the one who grabbed it right there at about the 6-yard line.
Wyzorek's got it, tries near side. Flags fly in, and that's going to be in the area of a block in the back. And this one might come back. A nice return by Wyzorek, but I think it's going to be off or not, Chris.
We talked about how the offense needed to come in and make something happen. The last thing they wanted to do is to pin themselves even further back with a penalty. But it looks like after the officials mark off the penalty, we're going to be well inside the 20-yard line, maybe even inside the 15-yard line.
The call is a block in the back against the Wolverines, and it will march them back to the 15. So he raced a nice return by Wyzorek, and Erdley's going to have to go to work from deep in his own territory from his own 15-yard line. So once again, a highly touted quarterback from West Forsyth. A little pressure right now, trying to get something going after the interception. They're going to give it to Wyzorek. He's going left side. Good burst of speed, and he's loose out across the 20, turns the corner. He's going to dance across the 25. Looks like he will be very close to a West Forsyth first down. Chris, there is obviously talent on both sides of the football field here tonight.
Yeah, Wyzorek did a really good job of stretching the field, and he turned the corner just when he needed to and got just enough for a first down for the Wolverines.
So they move the chains and go quickly back to that hurry-up offense. Early in the shotgun, and he's going to keep it, try right side. He's got some room, and he'll squirt forward across the 30 to about the 32. So both quarterbacks not afraid to tuck it under, Chris, and take on the defense.
Pretty good interior blocking that time by the offensive line.
Second down and a long 3 for the Wolverines. Approaching a minute 20 to play. They go option, and again, it's going to be Erdley. He kind of squirts through to the 35-yard line. That's going to be very close to another West Forsyth first down, depending on the spot.
Kevin, you mentioned earlier how these offenses kind of mirror each other. They're almost identical plays, whereas you have an option there of your back that's standing right next to the quarterback, or the quarterback sometimes tucks and runs. That's what's happening right now.
Run the same play near side with Wyzorek. He cuts it up. He's got room at midfield, and he's turning on the Jets down the near sideline. Tries to cut back and does. Breaks the tackle, cuts to the middle. Wyzorek on the move, and he's going to go down at the 6-yard line. What an effort by Wyzorek. Tremendous job.
Kevin, easily one of the best runs I've seen all season. That was all Wyzorek about 20 yards down the field. Good job. A good seal block at the line to break Wyzorek to the outside. And when everybody thought he was going to go out of bounds, he slammed on the brakes and cut to the inside and got another 15 yards. Big play for the home team.
Big effort as well by Wyzorek there to not go out of bounds and dig for more, breaking tackles and picking up big yardage down inside the 10-yard line. First and goal. And they're going to try the middle. Number 20 on the carry. First time we've seen Trevor O'Brien here tonight.
Little sophomore halfback there. Listed as 5'7", 170 pounds.
That'll get the nose of the football just across the 5-yard line. Second down and goal. 40 seconds and counting remaining in the first quarter. And we see Erdley now. Erdley under center this time. Going to go to Wyzorek. It looked like he may have tripped over Erdley there, so a little traffic in the backfield. And that's going to cost him a loss back to the 9-yard line.
And Kevin, 2 weeks ago, when this Wolverine team beat Centennial, the two main weapons were Erdley and Wyzorek. They both, between the two of them, they were responsible for just about every one of the points that was on the board.
This should be the final play of the first quarter. Here is Erdley to throw, looking, not finding anybody. He's going to tuck it and run in trouble. Gives the defender a pump fake and manages to make something happen inside the 10-yard line. And that is how we will end the first quarter. It'll be third down and goal when we get back to action right now. You've got a Johns Creek lead of 9-0 over West Forsyth. Football fans, do you want to watch more of your high school's great matchups like the game you're enjoying here tonight? Tell your school to sign up for the Playon Sports School Broadcast Program. The program allows schools to broadcast all their games and other activities on the web. For more information, go to playonsports.com/SBP. From West Forsyth High School, we're going to take a break at the end of the first quarter. It's Johns Creek 9 and West Forsyth 0. And we are back for the second quarter of action here on PlayOnSports.com's Friday night game of the week. West Forsyth in trouble after Erdley couldn't make anything happen. We're going to try a field goal here from 25 yards out. That kick is up, and the kick is good. And West Forsyth gets on the board. A very nice job there by Timmy Hartshorn, to knock it through from 25. And West Forsyth, Chris, probably would have liked to have had more, but at least they showed that they can move the ball. Had a great moment there from Wyzorek and got the crowd back into it. So maybe a little bit of stemming the bleeding, if you will, with Johns Creek coming out like a house on fire and running up and down the field on them. And they find themselves really within right now, touchdown extra point of taking the lead.
And just as important, they give their defense a time to catch their breath, because that first quarter was basically all Johns Creek until the last few minutes of the first quarter. So a home team gets on the board, see what the defense can do when they come back on the field.
And Chris, to the untrained naked eye, I think you could think that Sky Overton and A.J. Erdley out there is the same guy, just switching uniforms between possessions, because these guys really look an awful lot like each other, not only in their movement, but in their decision-making out there, their strengths, and the way they run the football. So Coach Mike Cloy over there at Johns Creek and Frank Hepler at West Forsyth, these guys are blessed with a lot of talent back there behind center. So we'll see how this one shakes out. 9-3. One play into the second quarter here from West Forsyth High School. Great to have you with us. Kevin Beck with Chris King. Jason, our producer. We got Sherry on the camera here tonight at West Forsyth, and we are thrilled to have you with us. Coming back near side, still breaking tackles at the 20 and going down about the 18-yard line. And that is where they will go to work. It's Austin Pack on the return, doing a nice job. They're going to mark that right at forward progress to the 20-yard line, just outside the 20, and that's where Johns Creek will go to work. They lead 9-3. Just underway, second quarter here from West Forsyth High School. Beautiful night for homecoming and a packed house at West Forsyth High School here tonight.
Okay, now it's Overton's turn to see what he can do.
So Sky Overton back in action, number 17 in your program, doing a fantastic job here so far tonight for the Gladiators. A 61-yard touchdown run. And here he is tucking it and running on the draw, finding some room on the left side with some jets and a straight arm across the 30, out of bounds at the 32-yard line. So no fear out there, Chris, and right now that Johns Creek line is controlling that line of scrimmage.
Yeah, Connor Vandenbos on the tackle along with Josh Gordon. Almost at will right now. Overton just doing what he wants.
And Chris, something of an oddity that we've seen here on Friday night, a huddle on the offensive side.
Yeah, I had a little bit of a puzzled look on my face. I was trying to figure out what was going on.
What are those guys doing back there? First down and 10 from the 32-yard line. Sky Overton from the shotgun. Chase Solomon in the backfield with him. Solomon's going to get the carry on the option. Knocked back inside the 30 to the 28, 27-yard line. Great penetration there by that West Forsyth defensive line. Looked like Thomas Bartholomew, number 90, leading the charge.
Big play right here, Kevin. Third down and long.
Well, they've been in third down and long half a dozen times here tonight. I don't think they're intimidated by being against the chains, Chris. This is a fearless Johns Creek offense, and Sky Overton has been leading them. Second down and 12. Try to get a little bit of that back. And Overton wants to throw, going to drop it outside to Solomon. He's got some room to dance, cuts it back inside of the 40.
Great move.
And he's going to have a first down to the 44-yard line. A lot of athleticism on display here tonight, not only from the quarterbacks, but some of these running backs. We saw Wyzorek showing great athletic ability, and Chase Solomon as well. Great quick feet to find the hole and pick up the first down.
And when the ball was kind of flipped out to the flats there, it looked like it was 1-on-6, but as you said, the elusiveness of the running back got the first down.
First and 10, Johns Creek at their own 45. And we're going to have flags and whistles before the snap. Been a fairly mistake-free game. Going to have procedure call. Looks like false start against Johns Creek, so that'll cost them 5. Make it first down and 15 from the Johns Creek 40. 10:38 to play until halftime. Johns Creek on top 9-3. West Forsyth did have a great drive but then they ran into some trouble and a very stout defense inside the red zone of Johns Creek and were forced to settle for a 25-yard field goal.
And Overton took the time after the penalty to go over to the sideline and probably get a handful of plays.
Going to go to Solomon this time. He tries near side. He runs into trouble in the form of number 33, Connor Vandenbos, and he's going to go down there. No gain on the play. Second down and 15.
So it looks like the Wolverines, Kevin, they're doing a little bit better job of controlling the interior between the tackles right now, where Johns Creek has been successful, has been on the outside.
Not only throwing it out there in the flat, Chris, but getting these guys to the edge and getting them with that speed to turn the corner has worked for them so far here tonight as well. But as you mentioned, a great job between the tackles, not giving up the big play. Second down and 15. Overton from the shotgun, and we're going to have whistles and flags once again before the snap.
Maybe another procedure penalty.
So Johns Creek hurting themselves right now. Offside offense. You don't see that very often. And that will march it back another 5. So call it second down and 20 for Sky Overton and company.
I suspect someone lined up with their helmet over the line of scrimmage.
Wide receiver on the outside, possibly not checking with the official, and it cost them 5. So they've committed 2 penalties on this possession right now. It's cost them 10 yards, and they face themselves with a second down and 20 after 10 yards of penalties. Trying to get this crowd in it over here on the West Forsyth side. Here's Overton. They're looking to the outside, looking for Solomon, and did not see pressure coming from the backside. Aleph Shaw with the sack. And the West Forsyth defense standing tall. Great play. Yeah. Overton never saw him coming, Chris.
It looked like somebody missed an assignment. He came in untouched and really laid a hit on Overton. And all of a sudden, Kevin, it's third and a pretty long distance.
We're going to call it third down and 25, Mr. King. From the 30, they need the 45 of West Forsyth. I don't think you've got a whole lot of pages in the playbook full of third and 25 plays. Let's see what Overton can come up with. We mentioned a few moments ago that they've been successful on third and long. This is the longest third down they've faced here tonight. And the West Forsyth crowd trying to cheer on their defense. And we're going to have a delay of game, another penalty.
And the offense is really, really struggling right now. And we've used this term, lack of concentration. That's what's happened. This 3 penalties in the last 5 plays?
3 penalties and a sack. So after the great catch and run by Solomon to get them out of the shadow of their own goalpost, now they find themselves buried.
And Kevin, if you're Johns Creek, at this point you've got to run something safe. I wouldn't be surprised if their quarterback just tucked the ball under it and ran to try to get what he could get.
Third down and 30. Overton with time, fires over the middle.
That might be a flag.
And it was, and there is.
And
pass interference. The flag is thrown, and that looks like number 3, Momo Camaro, who's been having such a great game, Chris. That is your mental mistake personified right there.
Wow, I tell you what, that's one of the few things that could happen to West Forsyth that would give Johns Creek a first down, and that's what happened. And, Kevin, it was a good call. The contact was made prior to the ball getting there. The defender pushed the receiver. He fell down. And
you could hear the collective groan on this side of the bleachers, Chris. I mean, everyone saw it, and that is really – I mean, you talk about the 3 penalties and the sack by Johns Creek. I mean, that right there is a major, monster mistake by West Forsyth. That is really, really painful.
The last thing you want to do is give an exciting guy like Sky Overton and this potent Johns Creek offense new life. That's exactly what happened that time with West Forsyth.
So it's first down and 10 instead of third down and 30. Just like that, one mistake gives Johns Creek new life, and they go back to business with Overton. He looks to throw, thinks about tucking it, and he's going to be dragged down from behind. Great pursuit there on the inside by number 85, Josh Davis. And he lost his hat. He's going to have to come off and get that repaired. Pickup of 2 on the play. Sorry, Chris. There's 3. Make it second down and 7.
Overton did a really good job. He has a poise, and he saw that nothing was happening. So what he did is he just did what he could. He got a couple of yards that very well could have been a play for a negative gain, but he did at least step up, tuck it in, and get at least a couple.
Showing great pocket presence in there for a young player. 2nd down and 7 for Johns Creek. The drive stays alive courtesy of the pass interference penalty, and now here's Overton to throw. He fires and has a man. 1st down yardage is going to be made. Great catch on the outside, Braden Fortin. And that will move the chain. So, Chris, they overcome the little lapse in concentration with that gift-wrapped 1st down, and Johns Creek goes back to business. 1st down inside West Forsyth territory at the 49.
Kevin, once again, the Gladiator offensive line giving their quarterback plenty of time to assess the situation, and he finally found his check down guy who had run the route just enough to get the 1st down.
7 minutes and 20 seconds to play until halftime. Johns Creek with a 9-3 lead and the football at the Wolverines 49.
Keeper.
They go option, and Overton keeps it and runs right into the waiting arms of Alec Coburn. And Coburn yanks him down after a gain of maybe 2 to about the 47-yard line. So a little Jekyll and Hyde, maybe some inconsistency over there on the West Forsyth side for defense, Chris, doing a great job of holding Johns Creek, but then they make that almost fatal error over there with the pass interference call. See if they can overcome that and hold Overton and Johns Creek here. 2nd down and 8. Just across midfield. The Gladiators go to work with Overton. That same pass to the outside. There is Braden Fortin one more time. That is there all day long, Chris. He goes out about 11 yards, turns, comes back to the quarterback, and Overton finds him. Another 1st down. That is working like practice over there right now.
And in my opinion, still soft coverage by the defensive backs. 7 or 8 yards are given cushions. I haven't seen any of the Johns Creek receivers run past any of the defensive backs, so I'm not sure why they're given such a huge cushion. I say step up 3 or 4 yards, because all Johns Creek is doing is taking advantage of that big cushion by the DBs and popping it for 8 to 10 yards on the outside.
And Overton is finding him. He's going to keep this one, go right up the middle with plenty of space to run. Now cuts it outside and turns the corner. Now he's going to get out of bounds at the 22-yard line. So you cannot take your eyes off Sky Overton. He has proven that to us here tonight, and he did it early with a 61-yard touchdown run. Remember, Chris, the first play of the 2nd quarter was the field goal by West Forsyth. We're now at 6.5 minutes to play until halftime, and Johns Creek has had the football the entire time. So West Forsyth, except for a field goal attempt, which was good by Hartshorn, it has been all Johns Creek here halfway through the 2nd quarter. 1st and 10 from the 20, call it the 23. Overton with Solomon. Solomon gets the ball straight up the middle and ahead of steam. He's in. 22 yards. And just like that, Chase Solomon right into the end zone quick as a blink of an eye, Chris. And Johns Creek overcomes 3rd down and 30 with a little help. It's almost, Chris, that pass interference call is almost like a turnover.
No, definitely like a turnover. Momo Kamara, of course, had a great 1st quarter, but he did make a mistake that time, and Johns Creek took advantage of it. Interior blocking was excellent that time by the Gladiator offensive line. I mean, the back just literally just ran as straight as he possibly could, untouched until the very end, dove into the end zone, and a huge touchdown for the Gladiators.
He was up to speed when he hit the hole, too, Chris. Solomon was really running downhill on that one. Here's Fowler for the point after. Nearly blocked. Good penetration there. Looked like Kamara Momo got in there, but the kick is up, and the kick is good. And that makes it 16-3, Johns Creek on top.
And Kevin, you know, I mentioned earlier, when you have such an elusive quarterback and a guy that's a threat to run like Sky Overton, sometimes it opens up opportunities for other people. That play was a good example. I'm pretty sure a couple of people thought that Overton was going to keep that ball, but instead he handed it to his receiver right up the middle, and we talked about how successful they've been on the outside. So linebackers, cornerbacks are looking for something to the outside, and then boom, Johns Creek just popped something right up the middle it's tough. One of the most frustrating things about being a defensive coordinator is having to come up with a game plan against a mobile quarterback. That is something that you can almost not coach against.
And Chris, they're running that read option out of the shotgun where he holds it in the belly of the back and waits for that outside D lineman or the linebacker to commit. And that's exactly what happened there. He gave it to Solomon, and Solomon was off to the races from 24 yards out for the score. And West Forsyth on homecoming night finds himself in a deep hole. 6:23 to play until halftime, and they trail 16-3. And this one is going to be driven into the end zone by Fowler, and West Forsyth will have to go the distance. So once again, A.J. Erdley and that Wolverine offense have to find an answer. And they haven't really struggled moving the ball, Chris. The first time they had the football, they moved it downfield, and unfortunately, for Erdley anyway, had the interception. Second possession, they moved it down the field very well, ran into some trouble in the backfield, a couple of great defensive plays, and had to settle for 3. So they can move the football. They've just got to cash in with touchdowns now. They cannot trade field goals for touchdowns.
It's Wyzorek again.
Wyzorek to the outside, cutting it back, dancing in the hole, and dragging tacklers close to first down yardage to the 29-yard line.
A little jitterbug action going on there, Kevin.
So Jake Wyzorek seems to be the go-to guy, much like Chase Solomon is for Kyle Overton over on the other side of the field. It'll be 2nd down and 1 after the Wyzorek carry. Overton on the give, and here is
O'Brien, looks like.
It's O'Brien once again, the little scat back. And he's got room all the way inside West Forsyth territory to the 46-yard line. So they change it up to the scat back. And that gets the Wolverines faithful on their feet.
They have an official's timeout.
And it looks like they got a problem with the chains, mechanical, technical issues over there on the far side. So once again, Chris, it looks like both teams can move the football. It's just that the Wolverines right now have got to close a couple of these deals and get back into this game.
Yeah, they've obviously shown their weapons, which is Wyzorek and O'Brien, along with the quarterback, who is one of those that can also keep the ball, tuck it, and run.
O'Brien, 5'7", 170, the sophomore running back. Erdley wants to throw on play action. A nice sliding catch over there, and they're going to give it to him. Nice job, Porter Bryan. I said Porter Bryan, I meant Brian Porter on the catch. A nice sliding catch. They're going to go back to the ground another time. Here's Erdley. And he is very fleet of foot. He's going to have room for a first down and more down to about the 27-yard line.
As we mentioned, Kevin, offenses mirroring each other. Both teams successful by doing pretty much the same thing.
They really are, Chris. It really looks like it's the same team just switching uniforms on offense. Here's Erdley to throw. A little pump fake now, rolling near side, looking. He tucks, and now here he goes using his legs. And he's going to go down at the 16-yard line, probably pretty wisely there. Chris looked like he was about to get some punishment as he cut back against the grain, but he did a nice job, and that will move the chains once again. So not the end of the world for the West Forsyth faithful over here. They know they can move the football. They've just got to get it into the end zone.
Very smart decision by the pump fake. The pump fake froze a couple of guys and allowed the quarterback to sliver in and get some yards.
Erdley again on the draw. Dancing in the hole, and he will go down about the 13-yard line. Very brave running there, I call that, for the quarterback to get in there amongst the linebackers. And he does a nice job. We've got an equipment timeout. Player with a helmet coming off. Inside the 15-yard line, they're going to mark it at the 14. Second down and call it 7. Sorry, Chris.
Denny Victor on the tackle along with Ben Deck that time for Johns Creek.
Second down and 7. West Forsyth need a touchdown. They can't settle. Here's Wyzorek on the corner. It's a foot race to the pole, and he's going to get out of bounds very close to the first down marker inside the 10 to about the 6-yard line. Let's see where they mark it.
Kevin,
well, Chris, we came for a football game. Looks like a track meet broke out here, buddy.
Let's give West Forsyth credit. Their offense has come back, and they've taken huge chunks off this field, and they're looking to put this ball in the end zone and get back in the game.
And they're showing some good spirit there, showing some good heart, Chris. They're not 5-0 by accident over there on the Wolverines side. Here's Erdley. Little sidestep, reaches for the goal line. Let's see if they're going to give it to him. Doesn't look like it. Maybe about a yard short. Really impressed by the footwork by all the folks carrying the football here tonight, Chris. The receivers, the quarterbacks doing a fantastic job of getting extra yardage, making guys miss.
Well, we remember both of these teams come in averaging over 30 points a game, 44 points a game average for West Forsyth, 33 points a game for Johns Creek.
Second down and goal for Erdley and the Wolverines. It's a keeper. They try to move the pile in. Let's see if we get an official call. Nothing yet. It's going to be just inches if it's not in. Erdley lobbying for the score. Doesn't look like they're going to give it to him. I'm going to call it third down and about half a football, Chris, between the Wolverines and the goal line. Big play here to try to get West Forsyth back into the football game. They trail 16-3. They need 7 here. A field goal really doesn't do them any good. Go to Wyzorek, and he's going to be tripped up. A great defensive play on the edge. How about that effort over there by number 22, doing a fantastic job of grabbing him by the ankles. It's Andre Biggins.
The defense did a good job of really stretching that one out, not allowing Wyzorek to turn the corner any sooner than he wanted to.
And Frank Hepler's going for it, Chris, on fourth down and goal from the 2.
But not without calling the timeout first.
And they're going to have a little session on the sideline, but a field goal right now is a consolation prize that I don't think West Forsyth can really afford to take.
Hey, Kevin, Johns Creek defense, they did a really good job that time. They stayed in their lanes. They stayed in their assignments. They did not allow Wyzorek to cut inside any sooner than he wanted to. And what that allowed is the outside defensive back to come in, Biggins, and make that play.
Andre Biggins doing a great job because Wyzorek's got those quick feet. Made a couple guys miss, and he's got that big burst of speed to get to the cone. And that was a great job by Biggins to save the touchdown. It was a good call. Generally, I'm not a fan of going sideways or backwards when you're that close on third and short. But Frank Hepler made the call to try to give it to Wyzorek. So the offense will trot back out behind A.J. Erdley. Biggest play of the game so far. West Forsyth trying to climb back in it. It's going to be fourth and goal from the 1. The Wolverines trail 16-3. 2:41 to play until halftime.
They've been successful running up the middle with their sophomore running back.
West Forsyth crowd getting into it. They go to O'Brien, and they're going to drag him back, Chris. He did not make it. They're going to mark this one at about the 1 foot line. West Forsyth comes up empty.
I believe that was your same guy who made the play last time, if I'm not mistaken.
Andre Biggins. A great job there, and West Forsyth cannot get it done.
And that one hurts, Kevin. That deflates it. That one hurts.
So now the only saving grace of this situation is that West Forsyth has Johns Creek backed up right up against their own goal line. But that is a tough one to swallow for the Wolverines offense. A nice drive, some big plays, got the crowd back into it. And much like the previous possession, Chris, they had to settle for a field goal. Even worse this time, they come up empty. And we've got officials signaling a timeout for Johns Creek. They want to talk about this situation. 1st and 10 from just outside the goal line, not anywhere near the 1 yard line.
Kevin, as you mentioned, now the responsibility flips back over now to Johns Creek's offense. They're pinned back on the 1 foot line. And if I'm Coach Cloy, I'm telling my quarterback, get me a couple of yards. Just move forward, go behind the big uglies. They've been doing a really good job of pass blocking. They've been doing a really good job of run blocking at times. Right now, you're just playing safety. You don't want to do anything that gives West Forsyth the ball back here late in the first half. But you got to put a little green behind you as well.
Based on what I've seen so far from Overton, Chris, I think that rolling pocket might be a good option for these guys. Get him into some space. He can use his legs to possibly cut it upfield and maybe spot a seam. But right now, I agree with you. You don't want to do anything too fancy. But they are loaded with weapons right now that could get them out of trouble in a hurry. 2:35 to play until halftime. Johns Creek with a 16-3 lead and the football at their own 1/2 yard line. Here is Overton from the shotgun. They go QB drawn. Here goes Overton. He's loose. Tripped up and barely tackled by the shoestring out at the 20-yard line, Chris. I think that might have been fatal for West Forsyth if Overton is able to scamper free. But a nice job there, just grabbing a shoestring and bringing him down. They're going to say he's down at the 19-yard line. But just like you said, Chris, very conservative QB draw, and Overton was able to break it and get some room for his offense.
On the list of things to do, getting a little green behind you, check.
So now they come out with a 4 wide-out set with a little room to work with. 2:15 until halftime, clock running. Here is Overton. He's running, and he runs right into the arms of number 7 with a flag on the play, Aleph Chol. And we'll sort out the flag, Chris. This is probably a holding situation based on where the flag flew. And it will be just that. So again, Johns Creek continues to make those mistakes and give that West Forsyth defense some yardage.
But Kevin, we have to remember that the Gladiators, what they want to do right now, they're just trying to keep West Forsyth from getting the ball back. If they don't score or anything, that's fine. They just want to move the ball, run some clock, and I'm sure they would go into halftime up 16-3.
And Johns Creek does get the football back at the beginning of the second half, Chris. They won the toss and deferred. So march it back inside the 10 to about the 8.5-yard line. They need the 29, so call it first down, about 21.
Wolverines, they do have 2 timeouts remaining.
Gladiators with the clock running. 16-3, Overton to throw. That is intercepted at the 25. A diving interception made by Connor Vandenbos, and just like that, West Forsyth is back in business. A tremendous catch.
Yeah, one of the guys in the stands just turned around and said, why did he throw the football? And I totally agree. You know, you're up by 13. You've deflated everything that the Wolverines has tried to do. You could run the ball, force West Forsyth to call their timeouts, maybe get one more timeout and go into the half up by 13. Instead, you may get a little greedy, Kevin. I'm going to have to say that. They may have got a little greedy, and it gives the Wolverines new life here late in the first half.
And, Chris, that was a tremendous effort by Vandenbos there, the diving interception. Here's O'Brien. He's loose inside the 15-yard line. And now the West Forsyth faithful are on their feet making some noise. They're sensing their team getting back in this thing. 1:41 to play until halftime. 1st and 10, Wolverines at the Gladiators' 14-yard line.
Turnovers are only as good as what you do after them. Let's see if West Forsyth can take advantage of it.
Wyzorek in motion. They go to O'Brien, right side. He's tripped up maybe a couple there to about the 12. Nothing else happening. And the clock will continue to run. 1:25 to play until halftime.
And, Kevin, the Wolverines have been put in this situation. I would not want to settle for a field goal. You've been given this golden opportunity. You need to put this in the end zone for 7.
2 times out remaining for the Wolverines. Erdley gives to Wyzorek, right side, dancing, skipping, breaking tackles inside the 5 to the 4-yard line. And that's going to be very close to a first down, Chris, and it will stop the clock if indeed it is a first, but it looks like they're going to be just shy. And the clock continues to run down to 50 seconds.
This wouldn't be a bad spot, in my opinion, for a timeout for West Forsyth.
3rd down and 1. The clock continues to run now. 40 seconds to play until halftime. Erdley under center. 35 seconds to play. O'Brien gets the give. He stumbles forward inside the 3. The ball came out. And it looks like he fell right back on top of it. And that will stop the clock to move the chains. It'll be first down and goal. Wolverines at the Johns Creek 2. And they want to be ready to snap the football as soon as they wind the clock. Here's Erdley with Wyzorek in motion. Go to O'Brien another time. Dives forward. Touchdown! West Forsyth gets on the board with 6.
A gift given to West Forsyth by Johns Creek. Maybe going for a little more than some may think.
So West Forsyth cashes in on the Connor Vandenbos interception, which, Chris, I think was one of the plays of the game so far. A diving interception, got the crowd back into it, and we're an extra point away from a 16-10 ball game.
POT, points off turnovers, so definitely big for West Forsyth.
Just like that, West Forsyth turns it on and gets it into the end zone. Timmy Hartson in to attempt the extra point. The snap, the set, and the kick are all good. 25.5 seconds remaining in the first half. West Forsyth gets back into it, and more importantly, Chris, gets the capacity homecoming crowd back into it. It's 16-10. And Sky Overton and Johns Creek will have just under half a minute to try to do something with it. But as we mentioned, they will get the football back to start the third quarter.
Well, Kevin, the Gladiators did what they wanted to do when they were pinned back at the 1 foot line. They gave it to their quarterback, a conservative run, got them some yards, got a little bit of green behind them, and then all of a sudden they tried to open it up and obviously they were trying to get up and get some more points, and it really, really backfired on the big interception. And give West Forsyth credit, they didn't take very long. They got that ball with about a minute and some change left, and about 70 seconds later they put the ball in the end zone, and it's a 6-point game. And I say 6 points because Johns Creek missed an extra point earlier. How important could that be later on in the game, Kevin?
We talked about the little variables of the game, and that missed extra point could come back to be one in this one. 16-10, Johns Creek on top of West Forsyth, 25.5 to play. And for the first time tonight, this capacity crowd has got the grandstands rocking on the near side. Homecoming night here at West Forsyth, and they finally have something to cheer about. A big interception in Johns Creek territory turns into 7 points, and just like that, West Forsyth is back in it.
Catch that football.
That's a free ball down at the 22-yard line, fielded by number 22 and knocked down at the 32-yard line. Andre Biggins, there's your guy again, Chris. Mr. Everything for Johns Creek here tonight. So that took 5 seconds off the board. 20.9 remaining for Sky Overton and Johns Creek to try to do something with it. And, Chris, they are a quick strike kind of team, and they could do just that. Let's see how they like to play it here. 1st and 10 from their own 32-yard line. Overton is going to keep it. Now we're going to have flags and whistles before the snap. Again, Chris, big problems over there just executing on offense.
Yeah, movement on the right side of the offensive line. I believe the right tackle
And
moved.
it will be a false start against Johns Creek. So that'll cost them 5. 19.2 remaining until halftime.
A little sloppy here at the end. Johns Creek may want to just take a knee at this point.
Overton in the shotgun. They're going to go QB draw, and they're really playing that conservative game now. Not even going to try handing it off. And Overton tackled near the boundary on the far side. They're going to say he stayed in. The clock will continue to run. I think that'll probably do it for the first half. And it looks like Johns Creek is going to take it into the locker room. They will get the ball to start the third quarter. But the horn sounds to end the first half here at West Forsyth High School. And Johns Creek holds a slim 16-10 lead after West Forsyth gets the momentum back to end the first half. We'll be back with a halftime show in just a moment, but I want to remind our football fans that Playon Sports is on Facebook and Twitter, giving you news and information and links to great highlights. Follow us at Playon Sports on both Facebook and Twitter anytime. You can also access thousands of live and on-demand games on YouTube at youtube.com/PlayonNetwork. Keep up with all the high school action every week from your destination for high school sports, PlayOnSports.com. We'll be back with a halftime show in just a moment from West Forsyth with your score, Johns Creek's Gladiators 16 and the West Forsyth Wolverines 10. We'll be right back.
3:16 left to go in this ball game. I formation, 3rd and 3 from the 45 of the Wolverines. And this time, holy cow! Dion almost hands it to the Westview player. He's going to run this to the 5-10. Touchdown, Wolverines! How did that happen? That was
Snyder.
Holy cow! He was in the backfield before.
Get a score from South Cobb.
The John Street High School Gladiator Marching Band, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, now presents the Pride of the West under the field direction of drum majors Lindsay Shoemaker, Alex Goldie, and Evelyn Lang. Band director for the Pride of the West is Patrick Gallagher. He is assisted by Associate Director Jeff Keegan. The band this evening will be opening with a fanfare based on Bolero. The second movement is Intensity, a medley of Spanish-inspired musical themes. The program continues with the beautiful ballad Time to Say Goodbye. The band will close the program tonight with the timeless Latin classic, Malagueña. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Pride of the West. Drum majors, is your band ready? Enter the field in exhibition.
Well, he's never that. I mean, I haven't seen him in like 2 weeks. He's got a girlfriend that comes out there now all the time. He just pretty much leaves his clothes over there. I know he's looking for some work.
Ladies and gentlemen, your pride of the West. West Forsyth High School, pride of the West.
A very nice halftime show concludes here at West Forsyth High School's stadium, and we are just about set to go with second half action. We've got the Johns Creek Gladiators leading the home West Forsyth Wolverines by the score of 16-10. The Georgia High School Association on PlayOnSports.com. The Friday night game of the week. Welcome back, everybody. Kevin Beck along with Chris King, Jason, our producer, and Sherry on the camera tonight. And we have got ourselves a barn burner here, Chris. Two teams that absolutely mirror each other. And I don't think we're exaggerating when we say that. The quarterbacks are very similar, the running backs, the game plans, and the way they perform on defense. These teams actually are just like images of each other, and they come in here with like records as well, 5-0 and 2-0 in region play. But something's going to give tonight. But a big, big boost at the end of that first half for West Forsyth to get the interception by Connor Vanderbond and turn this thing around. And the big question's really got to be, Chris, why did Sky Overton throw that football when they could have just run the clock out and taken a 16-3 lead into halftime, and they get the football back here to start the third quarter. So it's kind of head-shaking time as to why that throw was made. But you got to give credit to Connor Vandenbos for a great diving interception to put his team back in position. They converted, got the touchdown, and now right now a touchdown and extra point gives West Forsyth the lead. So a little topsy-turvy first half.
Well, Kevin, after Overton tucked the ball and ran down the middle, ran up the middle for about 20 yards. We remember it was first down and on the half-yard line, maybe on the 1 foot mark, actually, and Overton got his team some room. And I said that one of the first things they wanted to do was to get some green behind their quarterback, and then maybe I was thinking just enough to be able to go into halftime with a 16-3 lead. That's what I was thinking. But obviously Coach Cloy and the Gladiators were thinking otherwise. Once they got a little room, they wanted to go maybe down the field, if nothing else, try to put in 3 or maybe sneak in 7 at the end of the first half. It didn't work. The great interception, as you said, and very opportunistic. West Forsyth took advantage of that immediately. It's one of those things we talked about it so many times. We've seen so many games this season where teams have been given opportunities, given turnovers, and not able to do anything about it. I'm not saying that saved the game for West Forsyth, but as you mentioned, going into halftime with a 16-3 deficit, if you're West Forsyth, and knowing that you have to give the ball back to Johns Creek, the team that pretty much dominated most of the first half, mentally that would have been tough to overcome in the second half. Not that it could have happened, but you really would have had your back up against the wall. Subsequently, the interception, the touchdown, 16-10. Johns Creek still with the ball, but not quite a lead, and only a 6-point lead because of the missed extra point in the first quarter.
And you got to think the Wolverines needed that touchdown just to regain that self-belief in their efforts. I mean, they came down the field. They had the interception which thwarted their very first drive. Johns Creek came back and got the touchdown there. Then they came down. They got the field goal, which is kind of a consolation prize. Then they come back again, 4th and a foot, and they can't convert. So a couple of demoralizing efforts, and without that great interception and turning this thing around with that touchdown, we're looking at a very different ball game right now. But give them credit over there on the West Forsyth side. It's a 5-0 team coming in. They believe in themselves. They know they can put points on the board. And, Chris, another interesting point, we didn't see a punt in that first half.
Yeah, when we were you and I in the warm-ups, we were looking at the kickers, and I think we were focusing in on the Johns Creek kicker, saying that he was really putting his foot into the ball. Kevin, another point real quick before we start the second half. How different would this ball game be with what happened at the end of the first quarter and without that pass interference play by Momo Kamara? I mean, you had Johns Creek 3rd down and 30. They were going to have the first punt of the first half. Pass interference play bails them out. They go 1st down and 10. And then, Chris, again, just one turn of events can change a big football game. And we've had a couple of those events here tonight. Yeah, a bunch of ifs and ands. But the key in the second half is for West Forsyth's offense to do what Johns Creek's offense did pretty much in the first half. That's move the football and run some clock and put some points on the board, because both teams showed they can move this football. Both teams showed they're capable of scoring. This right here is for definitely a share of first place if Lambert wins tonight. But if Lambert loses, whoever wins this game could potentially be sitting pretty atop Region 6, 6A. And, Chris, I misspoke earlier. It is going to be West Forsyth getting the football to start the third quarter. Even better. And they will start from their own 20-yard line. So apologies to football fans who knew that, and we didn't. But we will get it straightened out, and West Forsyth will go back to work. So a good break for them. They're getting a little momentum there. Probably a great halftime talk from Frank Hepler in that locker room, and they go back to business. And Kevin, that may explain why the Gladiators were trying to possibly put something on the board, because they knew, unlike us apparently, that West Forsyth was going to get the ball to start the second half. So we do go back to work. A.J. Erdley, a very talented quarterback from West Forsyth. They trail 16-10. And they're going to go on the ground to start this one with O'Brien maybe a yard out to the 21-yard line. Starting to cool off a little bit here in North Atlanta. Very pleasant night for football. Homecoming night here for the West Forsyth Wolverines. Kevin, it's amazing. I think every Friday it's been mid to upper 70s to lower 80s when we arrive somewhere around 5:30 or 6 o'clock. But by the time the game starts, it's cooled off, and every night's been really great and beautiful for high school football. Erdley looking to throw. Now he's going to tuck it down and do it himself out to the 30-yard line. Big pickup there of about 7. Bring up 3rd down and very short for the Wolverines. Nice job by Erdley there. Looked like he wanted to throw, and the pocket collapsed on him. He stepped up, and neither of these quarterbacks here tonight, Chris, shy about tucking it and taking off. Yeah, 2 of the better quarterbacks we'll see in this area of North Georgia. And it looks like we've got an equipment issue with Erdley and his shoulder pads there. They've got to get him rebuckled, so that will be an equipment timeout.
And we're set back to go. So O'Brien joins Erdley in the backfield. Wyzorek is the H-back to the left. They go option this time. It'll be Erdley on the carry with blockers. He'll have a first down. Ball came out, but he was down by contact there at the 38-yard line. That will move the chains for the Wolverines. And the opening drive of the third quarter continues for West Forsyth. They trail 16-10.
And very similar to what happened at the beginning of the ball game.
Here's Wyzorek on the give, and nothing happening there. They were waiting for that on the far side. Great job of staying home on defense over there by number 18, doing a fantastic job. That's Will Summers. And he stayed home on the edge there, and Wyzorek ran right into him. Second down and 11 after the loss of 1. West Forsyth from their own 38-yard line. Here's Erdley from the shotgun. One step and a quick throw to the outside, and that's going to be complete out to the 46-yard line. Tanner Bridges on the receiving end. First time we've seen Tanner Bridges in the ball game here tonight. Senior receiver, 5'10", 175, number 4.
And again, taking advantage of the soft cushion by the defensive backs. Both sides being really soft on their coverage on the receivers.
All timing that time by Erdley. He didn't really step back at all. He took the ball from shotgun and just heaved it out there accurately to Tanner Bridges. Now it's a QB draw. This will be Erdley. He's loose on the near sideline, and he is gone. Touchdown, West Forsyth. A.J. Erdley, 52 yards, and we're going to have a flag on the play late, Chris. Might be a celebration, but we did have a flag flying very late.
Well, the Wolverines kind of building on that momentum that they had there at the end of the first half, coming out and quickly striking. And with the PAT, they take the lead because of the missed extra point in the first quarter.
Let's sort out the flag. The touchdown is good. It's going to be unsportsmanlike against West Forsyth.
Well, they march this off on the extra point.
We're going to see how they mark this. But right now we are tied at 16, less than 3 minutes into this second half. West Forsyth takes the opening kickoff, and on the shoulders of A.J. Erdley, they go 80 yards to tie the ball game. Now we are an extra point away from West Forsyth taking their first lead of the evening. Timmy Hartshorn on to kick. And they're going to enforce that penalty on the kickoff, Chris. So a standard extra point here. But that will really give Johns Creek an opportunity on the return, which you don't see very often at this level. If it goes into the end zone, that's it. But right now, I don't think with an unsportsmanlike penalty tacked on that they're going to be able to drill this kickoff into the end zone. So that sets up a scenario on the return.
And Kevin, you knew with an offense like the Wolverines averaging over 43 points a game.
No, Chris, they are going to assess it on the point after, so this is high drama. Johns Creek missed their extra point on their first touchdown, and now this turns into a 35-yard extra point for Timmy Hartshorn to give West Forsyth the first lead of the ball game here in the third quarter. The snap, the set, and the kick is blocked.
That's huge.
And it's picked up by West Forsyth, but that is going to do it there, Chris. That is major. So the celebration penalty, loss of concentration that you continue to talk about week after week, has cost West Forsyth the opportunity to take the lead, and we are knotted at 16. And Chris, how about this? Two teams coming in with identical records, both quality football teams with star quarterbacks and talent all around them. Why wouldn't we be tied at 16? Whole new ball game.
And normally one of the most basic aspects of the game, the PAT, all of a sudden a huge issue. As I mentioned in the open a couple of weeks ago, when West Forsyth soundly defeated Centennial 40-6, the reason it was 40 is because they missed 2 of the PATs. But what I was going to say earlier is, Kevin, we knew with this offense averaging over 44 points a game, and they've had 2 games where they scored 63 points, and that adds up to about 9 touchdowns in a game. We knew it wasn't going to take long once the Wolverines got a little confidence and got a break or two for them to go ahead and start cranking up that offense, and that's exactly what they did. They took 2 minutes and 21 seconds and grabbed a share of the lead.
So as big as the missed PAT was in the first quarter for Johns Creek, equally as big the unsportsmanlike penalty to cost West Forsyth the opportunity to take the lead. And Johns Creek will go back to work. Here is Solomon from his own 2. Looking to break outside with a stiff arm. Does break free, and he's knocked out of bounds at the 35-yard line. Making some good moves on the corner there. Big, strong running back with strong running. Puts Johns Creek in excellent starting position for their first possession of the second half. For the first time, Chris, since we started this thing, we're knotted at 16.
Well, we went to California via New York, but we got there back at the beginning, dead even. Interesting ball game. Both teams have sort of at times taken 3 steps forward, but then they take a half a step back, and they allow just a little bit of a window for the opposing team.
Sky Overton in the shotgun, and he's going to give it directly to Solomon and pull it back out. Ran that option, and the ball popped out.
That was close to very close to a forward pass.
I'm going to go ahead and admit that I missed that one completely, Chris. That was great ball action by Overton.
Well, he did keep it initially and ran forward, but then right at the last minute he pitched the ball, we'll say backwards. It was kind of close, but the result was a first down for Johns Creek.
So you talk about a quick strike. That was quicker than we could even see up here. 9 minutes to play, third quarter. First down and 10 from the 45. West Forsyth showing blitz. Now they back out of it. Here's Overton, quarterback keeper, and he's going to stumble forward to the 46, and that's going to do it there. Shortest gain of the night for Sky Overton on a running play, and it'll bring up second down and 9 for the Gladiators.
Alif Chal along with number 44. Looks like Austin Cook was in on the tackle as well.
So a couple of mistakes have cost each team a point after, and right now that's the difference in the ball game. 16-16 here at West Forsyth High School. Inside 8.5 minutes to play, third quarter. Second down and 9. Overton in the shotgun once again. Solomon in the backfield with him. Going to run motion and give to Solomon this time, and he stuffed at the line of scrimmage. Nice job there. First man to get to him was number 47 with a big hit. Brett Anderson on the stop.
Alex Coburn also in on the tackle that time. Big sophomore defensive tackle.
Third down and 9. We have seen this all night long from the Johns Creek Gladiators, Chris. They find themselves in these third and long situations and have been finding a way all night. But now the West Forsyth faithful, with their team tied, are starting to get into this ball game. Third and 9 for Overton and the Gladiators. Looking to throw now, changing his mind. And in trouble in the backfield. Got him by the short tails, and he will go down at the 38-yard line.
The ball came loose.
And they're going to say he's down. I haven't seen an official signal, and it will be down by contact back at the 38-yard line. Loss of 7. So, Chris, looks like we will, in fact, see our very first punt of the night. Fourth down and 17 coming up for the Gladiators.
And Overton just couldn't create enough that time. Give credit to the Wolverines secondary. They did not allow anybody to break free. You know, so many times when a play kind of breaks open like that, sometimes one of the receivers or the backs will peel back and allow themselves to become available to catch the ball. But give credit to the Wolverine defense. They stood tall, and they're going to get a chance to get the ball back and take the lead for the first time in the game.
First punt of the night is going to be Will Summers,
Wow.
and he absolutely drills a nose-over spiral into the end zone. Sometimes a punter can be too good, Chris. That thing was an absolute rocket.
We were watching him in the warm-ups in the pregame. That was 55 yards, and wow, that very impressive, very impressive.
So a 35-yard net on that punt. That thing was absolutely drilled, Chris. A line drive, nose-over spiral. Nobody had a chance and put a little too much air under it, and that will send West Forsyth back to work. So the defense holds for the first time tonight. Actually, the second time. The first time was the big interception to end the first half. But now West Forsyth with the momentum go back to work. Early to throw and got a man wide open heading down the middle of the field. It's going to be a foot race to the end zone. Ty Anderson running out of steam to the cone, and he's going to be just short. Chris, they're going to mark him out about the 1 foot line. Ty Anderson, a quick strike from A.J. Erdley. 79 1/2 yards on the play.
You got to give it to the big tight end, boy. He really wanted it. You saw him turn around, and he was trying to stiff arm, and he had a couple of guys hanging on, and he just couldn't quite get there, but as I said, Kevin, it was just a matter of time before this very potent West Forsyth offense wakes up.
Looked like the Big Bear got on his back somewhere around the 15-yard line. Eardley on the sneak, and it looks like he's going to be in. The official signal is touchdown. West Forsyth have their very first lead of the ball game. But it was all Ty Anderson, 79 yards on the reception down to the 1, and West Forsyth cashes in.
All 6'3", 215 pounds of the big tight end, and he really wanted it, but give West Forsyth credit. They have really, really turned this game around rather quickly, Kevin, rather quickly.
And Chris, the whole time that Johns Creek pretty much dominated the play in the first half, you never saw a negative body language from the West Forsyth Wolverines. They never got down. They never hung their heads. They know what their team is capable of, and you touched on it. 44 points a game average. They know they can put points on the board, so they were never shaken. They've got this crowd behind them, and now with their first lead of the evening, Hartshorn looks to make it 23, and he does. 6:25 to play in the third quarter. West Forsyth take the lead over the Johns Creek Gladiators, 23-16. And now, for the first time, we will see Johns Creek playing from behind.
Well, 20 unanswered points by the Wolverines, and that all happened in the time span of about, the last 2 minutes of the second quarter and the first half of the third quarter. So in a time span of about eight and a half minutes, the Wolverines strike quickly and take the lead here at homecoming.
It's the first time I've seen two separate huddles on a football field, Chris, by two different units. That's exactly what's happening there for Johns Creek. Looks like the defense in one huddle and the special teams in the other as they break and get set to receive the kick. But I think calling both these offenses quick strike would be an understatement at this point, partner. These guys are absolutely running up and down the field on each other.
What a great atmosphere all of a sudden. That's one of the great things, many things I love about being part of a high school football broadcast is the atmosphere. It's great, it's loud, it's a great ball game. We're outside just behind the stands, and everything is really coming together for a great ball game.
And it's homecoming here at West Forsyth. Number 24 on the return, that is going to be Austin Pack. For Johns Creek, he's out to about the 15-yard line, and that's where Sky Overton and that offense will go to work for Johns Creek. Trailing now 23-16. 20 unanswered points by the West Forsyth Wolverines, and all of a sudden it's gut check time for the Gladiators.
Plenty of time left, but definitely momentum swing for the Wolverines.
Sky Overton brings him out. Chase Solomon in the backfield with him. He has been the go-to guy. And they're going to run a toss to Solomon. A very late pitch by Overton. A nice job there. And the defense meets him on the corner at the 18-yard line. Gain of about 4 on the play. Make it 2nd down and 6.
There's about 3 or 4 blue jerseys over there for West Forsyth. One of the key tacklers was number 28, Alex Funderburg.
So let's see how Johns Creek answers the big surge and the big momentum swing here at West Forsyth. They trail now 23-16. Sky Overton and company working out of their own 18-yard line. Going to go option near side. Overton on the keeper, cuts it back inside. Going to be short of the first down to about the 18, make it 17-yard line. And that'll bring up 3rd down and short for the Gladiators.
Momo Kamara in there on the tackle that time for West Forsyth.
Kamara's having a big game out there defensively for the Wolverines here tonight. Just when they needed him to step up, he's been in the mix defensively.
Kevin, if you're Johns Creek, I say give it to your quarterback. Let Sky Overton do what he has not been stopped from doing yet, and that's gain positive yards. He only needs 2.
Crowd starting to make some noise here on the West Forsyth sideline. It's going to be option near side. Overton on the keeper. He runs into trouble. He's not going to have it, Chris. He's going to go down at the 23-yard line and be short of the first down. Great pursuit by most of the defensive unit. And he is going to be short, Chris, by about half a yard.
It may be a little bit too much east-west running that time.
And Chris, they didn't go play action. They went straight option that time. And the play action has really been working for Overton. That and the read option in the center has worked, but that time just a straight quarterback left side end around.
You don't think they're going for it, do you?
And it looks like they're gonna, Chris. Big moment in the ball game again.
This has to be a ploy.
Now they could try to draw West Forsyth off. Overton in the shotgun. And he wants the football. They're going to go for it here. And Overton pushes the pile.
Close.
This is going to be very close.
Maybe that left foot, right foot mark.
And they are going to give it to him, Chris. Wow.
Gutsy.
Nervous moment there. Gutsy. Great descriptive word. Gutsy. Gutsy call by Coach Mike Cloy.
You know, sometimes you got to roll the dice. The momentum definitely on the side of the Wolverines. Sometimes you do something to kind of throw them off. I'm surprised neither one of the teams called a timeout, especially the defensive team, because they call a timeout. They do not give the Johns Creek time to step up and run that play quickly. Possibly the Gladiators have second thoughts and they end up punting the football.
So new life for Overton and the Gladiators offense. 1st and 10 from their own 25-yard line. They're going to go near side on the give to Solomon. He lowers his head across the 30, knocked it out of bounds at the 35-yard line. That is hard running by Chase Solomon. And he's going to be close to another first down, make it 2nd down and 1.
He followed one of his pulling guards, and once his guard made the initial block, Solomon did the rest. He kind of slivered through a hole and turned a 3 or 4 yard gain into about 9.
And Chris, the feeling you get watching this game is that neither team is intimidated by the other. They feel like they can do whatever they want. Here's Solomon, right side this time, breaking tackles and loose on the edge. Chase Solomon at the 40, knocked out of bounds at the 32. And this is an absolute track meet here, Chris, with these guys breaking out to the corner. Chase Solomon with a big gain, and Johns Creek just like that in threaten mode inside West Forsyth territory.
Yeah, Josh Gordon, the strong safety, came over and had the angle, but wow. Punch, counter punch here, Kevin.
It really, really is, Chris. These guys have an immense amount of speed, an immense amount of talent out there. And you almost know who it's going to, but they just can't stop them. They're daring them out there to stop Solomon, and they just can't do it. 1st down and 10. They're going to say he was out of bounds at the 34-yard line. West Forsyth showing pressure. Overton on the read. He's going to keep it right side. Little twisting move at the 30. He'll have yardage down to about the 26-yard line. Very elusive quarterback when he's on the run.
And Kevin, very impressive by the Gladiators. The momentum definitely on the side of the Wolverines. Down by 7 points. Late in the 3rd quarter already, as we haven't had the ball in the air very, very much. But Johns Creek staying with what they know, keeping the ball on the ground, and thus far being very successful.
And Chris, we've said it a couple times in the broadcast already. These teams absolutely mirror each other in the way they play and their talent. Overton, straight snap, right side. Had some penetration there. First man to get a hand on him was number 85, Josh Davis, to slow him down. And going to be very close to a Johns Creek first down. And it will be indicated as such. 1st and 10 inside the 25 for the Gladiators. And we're inside 2 minutes to play in the 3rd quarter, Chris, as you mentioned, a rapidly moving 3rd quarter here. Johns Creek trails 23-16. A big momentum swing and 20 unanswered points by the home West Forsyth Wolverines on homecoming night. And they have once again gotten the crowd back into this thing. 1st and 10. Solomon in motion behind Overton. Thought about pitching. Now he's going to keep it and twist his way down toward the 20-yard line.
Yeah, good decision by the quarterback that time. I don't think it would have been a successful play had he pitched the ball. So what he did is he just took his lumps, fell forward, and got something positive.
One of these teams will leave here tonight with a blemish on the record. Both teams came in 5-0, 2-0 in region play. Both ranked in the top 10. About halfway through the season here, a meeting of a couple of powerhouses, West Forsyth and Johns Creek. 2nd down and 6 for the Johns Creek Gladiators. Overton in the shotgun, gives to Solomon with room in the middle. He'll move the pile inside the 20 to about the 17-yard line. That'll bring up 3rd down and a few. Clock running now, Chris, under 40 seconds and moving. We might get one more play in here before that third quarter whistle.
Quarterback going over, taking his time, talking to his coach, bringing the play back to the huddle.
Now 3rd and 3 now with 18 seconds, and Overton will get another play off before we go to the fourth quarter.
Is it time for play action, Kevin?
Making a lot of noise here on the near side. They go option give, and it's Solomon. Doesn't look like he made it, Chris. He needed inside the 15 and did not get there. And that will be the final play of the third quarter. West Forsyth lead 23-16 as the horn sounds. I want to remind all of our football fans that PlayOnSports.com is not only your destination for Friday night football action, but it's also the place for the most comprehensive coverage of high school playoff and championship events in all sports from across the country. PlayOnSports.com. High school sports lives here. We'll take a short break with your score. West Forsyth 23 and Johns Creek 16. We go to the fourth after this. And we are back for the final 12 minutes here at West Forsyth High School, just north of Atlanta. We have got a barn burner for you here on PlayOnSports.com's Friday night game of the week for the Georgia High School Association. The West Forsyth Wolverines with a 23-16 lead over the Johns Creek Gladiators. The Gladiators, big play for them here. 4th down and 1 inside the red zone. Looking to climb back into this one. First play of the fourth quarter. 4th down and 1. Kyle Overton under center. Quickly, they try to sneak. Chris, I don't know if he made it.
He got it.
He needed to get inside the 15, and they're going to say he did not make it. Huge play. And it looks like Overton down with a cramp or something with the left leg, Chris.
Looks like he may be trying to stretch it out, nothing more than just a cramp.
And that'll be a timeout for that injury. What a huge moment in this ball game. For the first time tonight, we've seen a weakness on Johns Creek, unable to convert on 4th down and a yard.
And also for the first time tonight, we saw Kyle Overton try to go and do something he hasn't done tonight, which is try to take the ball under center. He ran up to the line quickly. The center snapped the ball, and about 3 linebackers met him right at the line. They filled the gaps and did their job, and a huge play for the Wolverine defense.
And it looks like they are working on a cramp for that young man, so a tough break for Overton now. He still has 12 minutes of football left to try to get his team back in it. And that cramp is really working him over. He looks like he's in some discomfort down there. So, Chris, once again, momentum swings back to the home side. This packed grandstand with a lot to cheer about. Defense holds. And good news, Overton is up. And he gets a hand from everybody here at West Forsyth High School. So, Chris, do you take your foot off the pedal now? If you're the Wolverines, you've got 12 minutes and a 7-point lead.
No, absolutely not. You've got to put more points on the board, only up by 7, an entire quarter remaining to play. And Johns Creek, even though they were stopped there on 4th down, they showed the ability to move the ball and give themselves the opportunity to put the ball in the end zone. I say West Forsyth really comes out and tries to pound this ball again.
So Erdley goes back to work, rolling far side, looking for the corner. And he's just going to throw that one away. A good decision there by A.J. Erdley. Not much happening. Receiver was not open, and he was about to be out of bounds for a loss. A nice job there.
Yeah, take what you've got. If you don't have anything, get rid of the football.
And they're going to say intentional grounding, Chris.
Looks like he had a receiver there about 4 yards in front of where the ball fell.
It sure did look like he threw it at the feet of the intended receiver, so that is going to cost him not only some yardage, but that's also loss of down on intentional grounding.
Interesting.
So that's a big break for Johns Creek. Tough call to take right there. Eardley was on the run, well outside the tackle box. Looked like he had a receiver about 8 yards down the field. And he threw it right towards his feet intentionally instead of throwing it into the bench. And that will be intentional grounding. And obviously the West Forsyth faithful not happy with that. That is loss of down. So you march it back 10, and it's second down. A big break for the Gladiators defense here. They need something good to happen. They trail 23-16, just underway fourth quarter.
And all of a sudden your quarterback is shadowing the goal line.
Eardley's heels just outside his own end zone. They're going to give it near side to O'Brien. He's got a hole. Cuts back inside, and now he's loose. It's going to be a foot race to the end zone. 2 men to beat. A straight arm not going to work, and he's going to go down at the 23-yard line. But a huge pickup, Chris, and that is exactly what Johns Creek was doing to West Forsyth in the first half. And now West Forsyth giving them a little of their own medicine.
And Kevin, last quarter, it was the big tight end, Bartholomew, and this time it was the sophomore.
First down and 10 at the 23-yard line of Johns Creek. Eardley, play action. Now wants to throw. He's in trouble in the pocket, looking for space. Jukes a tackler at the 20. Now he's loose down the sideline, and he's going to get knocked out of bounds, and they're going to tack on 10 more, or at least half the distance for a late hit out of bounds. Everything going West Forsyth's way right now.
You blink and you miss a play, 50-plus yards. I tell you what, this Wolverine offense is really clicking right now.
Personal foul, late hit out of bounds is the call. That'll be half the distance, so it'll be first and goal for West Forsyth, looking to pad that 23-16 lead.
Well, we mentioned it, Kevin, a team coming into this game averaging over 450 yards of total offense and over 260 on the ground.
And now we see why.
Not hurting their offensive stats at all tonight.
So the half the distance walk-off will put the ball on the 5-yard line. 11:20 to play in the football game. A.J. Eardley and the West Forsyth Wolverines looking to get more. They go play action to O'Brien. Eardley keeps it, and he may fall forward for one and avoid the loss there at the 6-yard line. Good penetration there by the defense. Not much happening on the play action give.
Zach Disher on the tackle that time for Johns Creek.
Second down and goal from the 6-yard line. Gonna look to the outside, and that is wide open all day long. Touchdown, Jake Wazorek. From 6 yards out, A.J. Eardley hits him. Chris, looked like a blown assignment out there. Wazorek could have just walked in and just about did on the receiving end of that touchdown.
Yeah, your second option on offense, a guy who's responsible for 4 touchdowns last week, goes in motion and no one picks him up. Definitely someone missed an assignment.
That makes it 29-16, awaiting the point after by Timmy Hartshorn. Try to make it 30. Very much a tale of two halves here tonight. Johns Creek looked to be in control for most of the first half. They took a lead into the halftime locker room, but it has been all West Forsyth since. The snap, the set, the kick are all good, and West Forsyth pads its lead. So much for taking your foot off the gas, Chris. 30-16, West Forsyth jump out front by 14.
And Kevin, it all started with that interception late in the first half.
When Johns Creek let West Forsyth back into the game.
Yeah, Johns Creek had got themselves a little bit of room, and they were going for it. And as we said, we had it mixed up. We were thinking they may be getting a little bit greedy. As it turns out, Johns Creek realized that West Forsyth was going to get the ball to start the second half. So maybe they were going to try to sneak up and at least put 3 on the board and try to extend the lead a little bit. The big interception, West Forsyth put the ball in late in the first half and has not turned back since. 27 unanswered points.
27 unanswered points is the story of this ball game. Talk about not getting down on yourself after a couple of mistakes. They could have hung their heads on that initial drive when they got the interception. Looked like they were going in to tie the ball game. They hung with it, stayed with what they are and who they are. And right now, as Chris said, 27 unanswered points in Johns Creek, looking for answers. Knocked out at the 13-yard line. Austin Pack there. I was distracted. Pack looked like he stepped out of bounds and then came back in and got that football. I thought he might have been an illegal touch there.
And the ball was kind of doing strange things. It was a knuckleball kick, and it looked like it was going to bounce out of bounds. It took a bounce towards the sideline and then went straight up in the air. And I'm not sure if the receiver had not let that ball bounce one more time, it would have went out of bounds, and that would have given Johns Creek a lot better field position.
As it stands, they go to work from their 14, trailing 30-16 now. Time for Sky Overton and that high-powered Gladiator offense to get back to work and see if they can't draw themselves back into this thing. 10:50 to play in the ball game. Overton play action, looking now, firing back across the field. Wide open is Solomon at the 25. And a nice open field tackle out there at the 36-yard line. That looked like it could have gone for a lot more. Jacob Hill on the tackle. A nice job out there on the corner. One-on-one open field tackle, Chris. That is not easy to do with somebody like Solomon with that breakaway speed. And
in a situation similar to last time when Wazorek had the open touchdown, Hill, this kid's been your main weapon. Somebody's got to pick him up.
So they go to work at their own 38-yard line now. Just under 10.5 minutes to play. Overton from the shotgun. They're going to toss near side to Solomon. Gets a block, spins off a tackler, and he'll drag a couple more tacklers across the 40 to about the 41-yard line. Gain of 3 on the play. 2nd down and 7 coming up. Clock will continue to run. And if that clock is ticking, it is on the side of the Wolverines right now. They enjoy that 14-point lead after 27 unanswered points. A huge turn of events here on homecoming night for West Forsyth.
This Wolverine ball club ranked as the 5th best team in 6A in the entire state of Georgia, and they're showing it right now.
Overton out of the shotgun with plenty of time to throw, and he finds a man wide open across the middle, Ben Deck, and he's got plenty of room across the 40 to about the 39-yard line. First time they've used Ben Deck, senior wideout.
Kevin, the Wolverine defense may be getting a little bit conservative here.
It's hard to tell when you go up against somebody like Overton and this offense, Chris. The defense really, it can make a defense look bad. It just can, and that same could be said for A.J. Erdley and the West Forsyth offense. 1st and 10, just inside the Wolverine 40. Going to run motion and an inside shovel pass. Andrew Chambalon. Looks like he's going to have first down yardage to about the 25.
Alec Coburn on the tackle that time.
Little shovel pass. First time we've seen that tonight. Overton and that offense do a nice job of mixing it up. We see a lot of read option. Chris, we talked a little bit about these guys maybe running a wing T variety type of offense here. We've seen a little of everything out of the backfield here tonight. And right now they need some points. Trailing by 14, 9 minutes to play in the ball game. Solomon joins Overton in the backfield. On 1st and 10, a high snap, trouble for Overton. He can't handle it, and he is going to go down hard in the arms of number 85, Josh Davis. He's been in the backfield all night long, Chris.
Yeah, Davis doing a really, really good job and taking advantage of that muffed snap.
That ball looked like it almost hit Overton in the face, and that screwed up the timing between he and Solomon. And the clock will continue to run. 8.5 minutes to play. 2nd down and 15 from the 30. Both of these teams fighting, struggling to stay undefeated on the season. Here's Overton. Blitz right up the middle. He steps past it. And a little flip forward looking for Ben Deck. And that probably was the best thing that could have happened there, Chris. That was going nowhere.
Yeah, some great pressure coming up the middle from number 33. That was
Connor Vandenbos, the man with the big interception in the first half. So he's having himself a whale of a game out there as well, number 33.
A little bit of a stall with this Johns Creek offense. They were moving that ball very, very effectively, and then all of a sudden 2 quick plays, one for negative yardage, and now a huge 3rd and 15 conversion attempt for the Gladiators.
3rd down, 15 from the 30. Overton from the shotgun with time. Now he's going to have to buy himself a yard of space, throwing into the end zone, and overthrows his intended receiver. Incomplete. Looking for number 25 in the end zone. Michael Solomon, the intended receiver. And that'll be 4th down and 15, Chris.
Well, a field goal doesn't help.
Trailing by 14, 30-16. And it looks like Overton will trot back to the huddle with something in mind from Coach Mike Cloy here on 4th down and 15. And we've seen how explosive both offenses can be, Chris. Not a surprising situation here. They've shown tonight that they're capable of huge plays on offense, but none bigger than this one. 4th down and 15, trying to stay in this ball game.
You know, we were in a similar situation in the first half when we had an interference call.
Empty backfield. Now we have a flag in the backfield. Overton looking for somewhere to run. In trouble. Heaves it up for grabs in the middle of the field. It's intercepted at the 14. We still have a flag to sort out, which, Chris, I'm going to think would be a hold.
Yeah, in the area of a penalty against the offense.
Overton just scrambling back there, trying to find a patch of space to set his feet. It is going to be holding against Johns Creek. That is declined, of course. And 1st down, West Forsyth. It almost would have been better, Chris, for that defender to just knock that one down and save about 15 yards of real estate. But nonetheless, West Forsyth go back to work. So the defense stands tall now. And all of a sudden, Johns Creek's Gladiators offense sputtering.
Well, West Forsyth's offense has really opened up here in the second half, and 15 yards back may just mean a little bit more time for West Forsyth to run more time off the clock.
They go to Wazorek another time near side. It's going to be knocked out of bounds after a short gain there.
I think they said his forward progress stopped inbound, so the clock is still running.
A big break there for West Forsyth as they keep that clock ticking now. 7.5 minutes to play. Go to Wazorek again, the far side this time. And that's a big, hard tackle there. Nice job by Tommy Welsh. And we have a flag down on the play. That's going to be holding against West Forsyth. So getting a little sloppy here late in this one. Johns Creek trailing 30-16. Remember, it was 16-10 at halftime. It has been 27 unanswered points by the Wolverines here tonight, looking to stay undefeated and put the first blemish on the record of their rivals, Johns Creek, on homecoming night here at West Forsyth. Looking to cap the celebration, but right now they find themselves literally in the shadow of their own goalpost. 2nd down and what looks to be about 22. Quarterback draw this time. Erdley squirts through to about the 10-yard line. Looks like he had more, a little frustrated there. I think a shoestring tackle saved a big gain.
Looked like he may have tripped over his own man, because he did have a huge hole.
Well, 3rd down and 16 coming up from the 9. Once again, they go no huddle. Erdley from the shotgun, Wazorek in motion. And Erdley looking for him. He's loose on the far sideline. He's got a 1st down at the 30 and more. And a nice ankle tackle out at the 37-yard line. And West Forsyth gets out of trouble all the way out to their own 37. A nice job there. They ran Wazorek in motion behind the formation, Chris. Nobody picked him up. And Erdley drilled it to him on that far sideline. That's the one thing we really haven't seen showcased tonight is the big arms on both of our quarterbacks here tonight has really been pretty much showcasing the legs.
And Kevin, I'll tell you, there sure are some pretty prominent superstars that are getting very, very open on both sides of the field.
Well, this has been an offensive exhibition here by both sides. The first half really belonged to Johns Creek. If you want to see which way the run of play went, it was really all Johns Creek in the first half. until the big interception at the end of the second quarter. And since then, it has been all Wolverines to this point. O'Brien gets the give. He's going to have forward progress, probably to the 40 before he's driven back. Make that Porter on the carry.
No need to be in any hurry if you're the Wolverines. Very smart, taking time off the clock, making substitutions.
Well, that was O'Brien on the carry. Porter checks in now, number 21. 2nd and 7 from the 40. Clock continues to run. Just under 6 minutes to play in this one. From under center, the give is to Wyzorek, and he's got room, and now he's going to sprint down the far sideline. A foot race to the cone, and he's going to score. Touchdown, Wolverines.
Tell you what, there was one block on the outside. One great block on the outside.
And Chris, it happened so fast. Calling it quick strike is almost an understatement.
Cody Mixon, one of the offensive guards on the outside, laid a great block, and Wyzorek did the rest.
Jake Wyzorek, how about that, Chris? When he turned that corner, you could see he had his head up like a sprinter, and he was gone. Timmy Hartshorn comes in to try to make it 37-16. And remember, Chris, West Forsyth just a few moments ago was in the shadow of their own end zone, and they come all the way back and put hopefully 7 on the board here if Hartshorn can convert. And a very stunned Johns Creek side of the football field starting to head for the exits. Hartshorn for the extra point. The snap, the set, and the kick are all good. With 5:40 to play in the ball game, it is now West Forsyth 37 and Johns Creek 16. What an amazing turn of events here tonight, Chris. The switch absolutely flipped off for Johns Creek and West Forsyth. Somebody poked the bear, partner, and it really came with a vengeance here.
And, you know, in the pregame we talked about a couple of weapons for West Forsyth. Of course, Erdley was going to be the main guy. We also talked about Wyzorek. Wyzorek 2 weeks ago responsible for 4 touchdowns, as was Erdley, and we thought that would be the 1-2 punch, and those are the 2 guys that really brought West Forsyth back, feeding off the big interception. I keep talking about that big interception right there at the end of the first half, but that is what kind of made Johns Creek stall. West Forsyth got the ball, put the ball back in the end zone to only be down by 6 going into the half, and then West Forsyth absolutely cranked things up in the second half.
A big mistake which opened the door that Johns Creek has not been able to close. It has been all West Forsyth offense since that interception, and a huge interception it was by Connor Vandenbos. So now it is officially panic time for Johns Creek. They have got to go to work in a hurry. They've shown that they're capable of it, Chris, but only 5:40 remaining. And they trail by 21. A big night for the West Forsyth faithful here on homecoming night. The team has delivered. And here's that little sand wedge to about the 25-yard line.
Caught by the quarterback.
Nice job there by grabbing that thing. Braden Fortin.
Oh, Braden Fortin, actually. Yeah.
I know, partner. Things are happening so fast out there, it's hard to keep up.
Yeah, it's just a blur. It's amazing what's happened here.
So Johns Creek, trailing by 3 touchdowns, goes to work at their own 36-yard line. And right now, just fundamental defense by West Forsyth gets you home and keeps you undefeated. Here is Overton now. Just 3-man rush by West Forsyth. They're going to slip it outside to Ben Deck, and he is going to be kept inbounds. Nice job there. He got knocked down, thought he was going to go out of bounds, but the clock will continue to run out to about the 39-yard line. 2nd down and about 7.
Tackle made by senior Jacob Hill. Hill's had a solid ball game tonight, Kevin.
A lot of standout performances here tonight on the defensive side for West Forsyth. A great job by those guys to stay in the football game. Here's Overton firing outside to Solomon. catches it and then loses the handle, and that cost him a first down, Chris. He was just about to make a first down. He lost the handle, had to go back and fetch the football, and it cost him about 2 yards. So instead of a first down, stopping the clock and moving the chains, Johns Creek has got to find a way to pick up 2 more and get that first down.
He was very fortunate that the ball bounced and he was able to regain as quickly as he did.
3rd down and 2. The clock continues to run. 4:40 to play in the football game. Overton with time, just a 3-man rush by West Forsyth. Overton surveys, looks downfield, and that is going to fall incomplete. Looking for number 21, Todd Blackwell. And he was unable to make the catch. A little underthrow by Overton. So that's 4th down now, Chris, and a couple.
Well, it may not be a bad idea for them to use their athletic quarterback just to get 2 yards and stop the clock and set their offense up again.
They cannot afford to give the football up anymore tonight. They need 3 touchdowns to get back in this thing. 3-man rush by West Forsyth. Plenty of time for Overton, and he'll have the first down to the outside. That is Braden Fortin on the receiving end, just across midfield, and that will stop the clock and move the chains. 4.5 minutes to play. West Forsyth choosing to rush 3 and drop 8, Chris. And that is going to give Overton time to look, but he's really going to have to try to find a hole or a window to drop that football in there. 3 men with their hand on the ground coming after Overton. Plenty of time. Now he's going to have to look for room, and he scrambles out to the far sideline, close to a first down. Big pressure coming from behind. Once again, Brett Anderson. We've called his name a few times here tonight, Chris. One of the defensive standouts for the Wolverines. And that'll stop the clock at 4:12.
Overton did do a good job of getting out of bounds.
And that will be 2nd down and about a yard. Five wide out set, 3 men on the front for the West Forsyth defense. Now looks like they're going to come pressure on the outside. Overton fires away from that. Ball's tipped in the air and incomplete. Just about intercepted there. Nice job on the defensive end. So again, Johns Creek finding themselves in a must-have situation. 3rd down and 1.
That was Ballou that made that play last time.
4:07 remaining in the game. Once again, from the shotgun, here is Overton. Now he's got to run for his life on the near sideline. 5 men after him, and he runs into a sandwich there at the 34-yard line. First down and 10 for Johns Creek. The clock will start. 3:59. Overton from the shotgun. Going to go quickly outside, dumps it off. Has room down to the 25-yard line. Austin Pack on the receiving end. Close to another Johns Creek first down, but Chris, they need more than that at this point in time. They've got to have big chunks of yardage, and they've got to have points, trailing by 3 touchdowns.
Very impressive performance by this West Forsyth offense. And let's give credit to the defense. The defense has shut down Johns Creek's offense here in the second half.
2nd down and 3. Overton to throw another time, looking into the end zone, and he's going to underthrow that one. That one's going to be short-hopped and incomplete. Todd Blackwell, the intended receiver. So all of a sudden, Overton having trouble hitting the target, Chris. That's a couple of passes underthrown that he really had to have. And it'll be 3rd down and 3 for Johns Creek.
And the Wolverines doing a good job of substituting, trying to keep fresh legs in on the defensive side for every play.
And we're going to have a timeout on the field. And that will be called by the West Forsyth defense. So those guys are going to take a break and come and chat with Frank Hepler for the final 3:17 and talk about strategy to try to wrap this one up, Chris. It looks like it might be out of reach right now for Johns Creek, but they've got to stay fundamental. We've seen teams fold in the last couple of minutes and make some mistakes that make it interesting. But with a 3-touchdown cushion right here, West Forsyth fundamental football gets them to the house.
And, you want to win every ball game, and you want to put yourself in the best position to make the playoffs and make the biggest run that you can in the playoffs. Both teams, an important game tonight, but Kevin, it may have been a little bit more important for Johns Creek. Providing this score stays the way it is and West Forsyth does go on to the victory, next week it's sort of a tale of two different directions for both teams. West Forsyth going up against North Forsyth, and North Forsyth is one of those teams that's in the region, and they're
0-2, Chris.
They're 0-2 in the region.
Yeah.
And Johns Creek goes up against Lambert. Lambert is the other team that's tied at the top of the division with these two teams, and Lambert could easily be tied with West Forsyth if they win, which could put Lambert and West Forsyth up there for first place, or they could have a loss if they lose tonight, and then Johns Creek and Lambert would have a very, very important game to try to see who could slide into that second position in Region 6A.
So Johns Creek looking to prevent being on the outside looking in, and that's going to be intercepted. Overton overthrew his intended receiver, and that is picked off, and there is that man again, Chris. That is Hunter Ballou, the nephew of the Georgia great Buck Ballou, and that will probably do it for the Johns Creek hopes here tonight. Overton just missed his intended receiver. He was looking for number 7 out there, Chase Solomon, and just overthrew him. Solomon broke off the pattern, and Ballou was waiting right there at the 8-yard line with an easy pick. All he had to do was keep 1 foot in bounds, and he had the interception.
And Kevin, Johns Creek's offense showing that they're not really suited for the comeback as far as trying to come down from 3 touchdowns. I don't think the first option is going to be to throw the football, and that's what they have to do to try to get back in the game, and it's just not working right now.
And obviously West Forsyth will keep it on the ground. I would be very shocked if we saw another ball in the air tonight, Chris, which was, as we've really documented pretty completely here tonight, the big mistake of the football game was Sky Overton putting that ball in the air, looking for Chase Solomon and getting it picked off with that great interception.
You know, you're down by 3 touchdowns, but you got three timeouts on the board. They're not going to do you any good if you tuck them in and put them in your back pocket and take them into the locker room with a loss. Call a timeout. Anything's possible.
2:40 to play. They go to Wyzorek on the right side, the speedster, and he is one shoestring away from another big run, very close to a first down. And it looks like it will be first down yardage for Wyzorek, and that will stop the clock momentarily as they move the chains for the Wolverines.
Kevin, we've seen some impressive performances this year. We've seen a very impressive Gainesville team. We've seen a very impressive Milton team. But I tell you what, the 1-2 punch of Erdely and Wyzorek, as good as anybody we've seen this season, Kevin.
I'd have to agree with you. They're going to keep it on the ground. This time they go with Porter, and he was knocked down just across the 20-yard line after a gain of about 2. Now, Chris, we've seen some pretty stout defenses so far this year, too, and I think probably what we're missing here tonight is that big, imposing signature defense of some of the clubs that we've seen already in 2012. You've got the Gainesville defense with that huge front line. You've got the Buford Wolves, another big defensive line. Milton, very stout. We saw Stevenson a couple of weeks ago that were absolutely loaded up front. So we're seeing two different personalities of teams here. This is more of a track meet compared to some of the ground and pound, hit you in the mouth games that we have also seen earlier in the season.
Well, Johns Creek kind of jumped on the Wolverine defense early, and then once they regained their composure, they really did a good job of shutting down the Gladiators here in the second half.
That play was doomed from the start. Illegal motion, 2 men in motion at the same time. They just kind of ran through the motions there, and that will be against West Forsyth with 1:25 to play in this one. So a very successful homecoming effort here tonight. Looked like it was a little bit in question as we headed toward halftime, but the West Forsyth Wolverines stood tall against the big challenge and a big emotional charge by the Johns Creek Gladiators to open this thing up. But they have defended home turf here tonight very well, and it looks like they're going to take a very convincing win into the homecoming celebrations this weekend.
And as I mentioned, next week, West Forsyth has North Forsyth on the docket, where Johns Creek goes up against another one of the teams that's battling for the top spot. That's Lambert out of Suwanee.
And and if there's good news in that, Chris, that will be Johns Creek hosting the Lambert Longhorns at their own place. So that might be the edge they're looking for. Keep it on the ground again, as you thought they might. Trevor O'Brien with the carry across the 25 to about the 27. The clock will continue to run. It's under 1 minute to play in this contest. And that has pretty much sent most of the Johns Creek faithful toward the exits.
34
and Erdely,
unanswered points.
And that's going to be the headline, Chris. I mean, they really rallied and then never looked back once they got into this ball game. So Erdely's going to take all the time he can Might even take a penalty here as the clock runs under 30 seconds. And that's what they will do. They'll take the 5-yard penalty. And Frank Hepler wants to talk to his offensive unit.
Is this the first time tonight we're going to see the West Forsyth punter?
He will bring the offensive unit off the field, as a matter of fact. And it's first punt of the night for West Forsyth. That'll trot Hampton McConnell out onto the field. 26.1 seconds until what would be, I'm sure, a very spirited celebration. Chris, you see some of the homecoming queens walking onto the track there as they get ready to have their homecoming celebration post-game instead of halftime here tonight. We had great demonstrations by both bands at halftime, and the festivities will continue here with homecoming at the conclusion of this one. After a brief conversation, the officials will wind the clock, and we are set to go. Little high knuckler is going to be fair caught and muffed back at the 36-yard line and then pounced upon. Very tough ball to field, Chris. That thing was kind of a wobbly knuckler, and they were able to pounce on it back. It looked like Ben Deck was the first man to get it and fall on that grenade. 18 seconds left in this one, and merely a formality now for Johns Creek.
Kevin, I'm impressed. You came in thinking it was going to be a big offensive game, two teams averaging well over 30 points a game. And at halftime, you were thinking, well, you know, it'll be close. Johns Creek, West Forsyth made it close going into halftime, but the Wolverines really opened it up here in the second half and have really dominated on the offensive side and the defensive side of the football.
Last resort mode for Overton now. He's going to heave this thing as far as he can down toward the 20-yard line, and it's caught. Nice job there. A reception made at the 18-yard line, and he manages to pick up Braden Fortin down there.
Pretty impressive catch by the young kid.
Yeah, a little jump ball. He's not the tallest player out there. Just went up and got it. And Johns Creek's going to take a timeout with 8.6. So, Chris, we talked about in the first half that West Forsyth didn't flinch when Johns Creek came out with all that emotion and that momentum. It looks like Johns Creek may have flinched just a bit when they realized that West Forsyth wasn't going to go away, and they were determined to stay in this ball game.
It was a situation where, you know what, we better get them while they're down, because you know they're going to bring something. They're good, too good of a team, taking nothing away from Johns Creek. Johns Creek came in with the game plan, and it worked for about a quarter and a half. But just the game turned as so many games turn off of a turnover. And, you know, I mentioned it, and I've said it over and over, probably in my sleep, turnovers are only as good as what you do with them. And West Forsyth did exactly what they needed to do with that turnover right at the end of the first half and have done nothing but steamroll ever since.
They're almost just kind of reinvigorated their belief in themselves when they got into the end zone there. With 8 seconds left, Overton going to throw, looking for Austin Pack and finding him. And Pack makes it down to about the 1-yard line. And the horn will sound. Johns Creek will not have a chance to put any more points on the board, and that will do it. West Forsyth stays undefeated and moves to 6-0, 3-0 in region play as they defeat the Johns Creek Gladiators by the score of 37-16 here at West Forsyth. We'll be back in just a moment with the post-game show, but first I want to remind everybody that Playon Sports is on Facebook and Twitter, giving you news and information and links to great highlights. You can follow us at Playon Sports on both Facebook and Twitter anytime. You can also access thousands of live and on-demand games on YouTube at youtube.com/PlayOnNetwork. Keep up with all the high school action every week from your destination for high school sports, PlayOnSports.com. We'll be back with a post-game show in just a minute from West Forsyth, where the Wolverines have defeated the Gladiators 37-16. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody, to PlayOnSports.com's post-game show here at West Forsyth High School. The game of the week has seen the West Forsyth Wolverines defeat the Johns Creek Gladiators 37-16. Kevin Beck along with Chris King, Jason our producer, Sherry on the camera for our post-game show. And Chris, really a tale of two halves here tonight when one team punched the other team in the mouth. One team didn't blink, and that team tonight was West Forsyth. They did not blink. They were down early. A big emotional run by Johns Creek to start this thing. But a key interception by Connor Vandenbos at the end of the second quarter turned this game around.
And, we have to pick a player of the game. Sometimes we pick a unit, a defense or an offense or a special teams player, a kicker. And I believe we decided at the break that Connor is going to get our vote for the player of the game because his interception essentially kick-started the comeback and the subsequent destruction, I guess you can say, that came in the hands of the West Forsyth Wolverines. And Kevin, we were able to get a score on the Lambert Centennial game, a surprising Centennial team going in 0-2 against Lambert, who was tied at the top with these two teams. Centennial pulls off the upset 27-6. So what that means is, at least for a week, West Forsyth alone at the top of 6A, and a very, very important game next week between a 2-1 Johns Creek team and now a 2-1 Lambert team. Interesting how things shuffle just after 1 week.
And how big is that, Chris, that next week you would think that West Forsyth can handle North Forsyth fairly handily. You would think. But now with Lambert falling to Centennial, they go to Johns Creek and have to try to regroup. So both the teams next week, Johns Creek and Lambert, have got to try to recover from fairly surprising results. I think most people would agree. So that really sets up some big action and some big drama in this region next week. And again, Chris, we are past the halfway mark in the season right now. It is time to position yourself for the playoffs, and neither of these teams, Lambert or Johns Creek, could afford this loss tonight. So West Forsyth in the driver's seat, and almost a two-game swing if you want to look at it that way.
Yeah, sometimes it's not how many games you win. Well, I mean, if you win all your games, it doesn't matter. Sometimes it's not how many games you win. It's which games you win. So many teams play the first 2 or 3 games of the season against non-region opponents to kind of fine-tune things, and they'll play tougher non-region opponents. They'll get into some of the kickoff classics or something like that just to see how they fare against other teams. Gainesville and Buford, a good example. Two powerhouses coming from different conferences, playing to kind of see how they gauge against each other. But once the region play starts, that's when it's important, and that's what right now is where West Forsyth is getting their wins and building the momentum as they try to go into the home stretch here in Region 6A.
Big surprise here tonight that Johns Creek absolutely went in the tank offensively after what they showed to seemingly have in the first half. But Connor Vandenbos is our player of the game tonight, Chris. Not just any interception, a diving interception that really turned the whole momentum of this football game. So congratulations to Connor Vandenbos, the 6'1", 200-pound senior defensive back. He is our PlayOnSports.com player of the game here tonight. Congratulations to him and the West Forsyth Wolverines here on homecoming night. They take care of business on crosstown rivals Johns Creek, and the Gladiators go home with their first loss of the season, 37-16. 27 unanswered points by the Wolverines. A very, very impressive performance. So that'll do it from West Forsyth High School here tonight as homecoming activities begin. A great night for all this happening and a great atmosphere, as always, on a Friday night on PlayOnSports.com. We are so glad you joined us here tonight, and we look forward to you guys joining us next week and every week on PlayOnSports.com for Georgia High School Association football. So for my partner, Chris King, my producer, Jason, Sherry on the camera tonight doing a wonderful job, this is Kevin Beck. We look forward to seeing you again next week on PlayOnSports.com. Check us out on YouTube, PlayOnSports.com. And you can find us at /Playon Network. Very easy. Pick your favorite game and watch all of the action. So once again, from West Forsyth High School, it's 37-16. The Wolverines take care of business. For everyone here, this is Kevin Beck. Have a great night, everybody. We'll see you next time.
4th and 10 from the 41-yard line for St. Augustine. Kennedy dropping back to pass. Looking left. Firing, incomplete, intended for Noland. No penalty flags on the field. Mar Vista will take over on downs, and Jordan Lurtier